attended in 2019 Sadhguru's conference in Dallas. And I saw 6,000 people in person, pin drop silence in a big hall. And I saw some people crying, some people excited and dancing and ecstatic. I felt like, wow.
Sadhguru changed your life. Mindfulness is all about how you exercise your mind.
Your mind, yes.
That will be a simple and relatable thing I can understand now.
Yes, that's exactly right.
How is it important for the mental health?
So mental health, let's talk about why the mental health came into existence, or what is about mental health. Mental health is not always when you're in front of counselor or psychiatrist. No, mental health, the mind is with you every day when you drive a car, when you cook food, when you're working. And when we are existing in this world, in time and space, there is a lot of uncomfortable situations. How you deal with that, that's what I call mental health.
Namaste everyone, my name is Shilpi and I'm the proud host of Safarnama with Shilpi. Thank you for watching my videos and supporting my channel by sharing with others and subscribing. Your encouragement means the world to me and it motivates me to create the content that truly matters. In today's episode, we will dive deep into the transformative world of mindfulness and mental health with our guest Sujan Shah. Sujan is a mindfulness coach and meditation expert whose work has touched the lives of many. His journey into mindfulness began with a personal quest for inner peace and self-awareness, which eventually led him to pursue this path professionally. He has gone through extensive training under the guidance of the legendary Deepak Chopra. Today we will discuss mindfulness, its importance for mental health and the common misconceptions surrounding mindfulness and meditation. Sujan will share his insights on the challenges people face when trying to maintain a regular mindfulness practice and offer practical advice on how to overcome these obstacles. This important topic has been brought to you by India House in collaboration with Hawk Foundation and Asian American Health Coalition. India House Houston is a vibrant non-profit organization dedicated to uniting culture and enriching the greater Houston community. Through its diverse range of free programs and services, it addresses critical needs such as healthcare, legal aid, education and wellness. From food distribution and charity clinics to yoga classes and cultural activities, India House fosters inclusivity and provides a welcoming space for people of all backgrounds to connect, learn and thrive. Please help me to welcome Sujan Shah on Safarnama with Shilpi. Thank you, India House, for this great initiative and bringing awareness to the community. So now let's welcome our today's guest, Sujan Shah. Welcome to Safarnama with Shilpi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing so good.
Good.
I'm truly thrilled to have you here today. Your expertise in meditation and mindfulness has inspired countless of individuals. From your extensive training with Deepak Chopra to your impactful workshops in juvenile facilities had made a significant difference in many lives.
Yes, thank you. Thanks. I'm very glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking time out from your schedule to share your knowledge, your experience with us.
Thank
so
you.
Let's get started.
Yes, thank you.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling really good. I'm glad I'm here. You are doing very important work. So I'm thrilled.
Thank you. I want to dive into meditation with your experience. Everyone remembers their first meditation experience. Like I heard about it. Some people cry, some feel joyful, some get very overwhelmed. Like if you ask about my first meditation experience, you will laugh. I slept.
That's very good.
So I want to know how was your first meditation experience like?
I remember, can I share one
Yes,
story?
please. Yes, please.
So,
Go ahead.
one disciple asked Buddha that what is meditation and why I'm feeling so overwhelmed when I started meditation, because my goal was to feel calm and quiet, but I'm actually feeling anxious. So Buddha said, is because you were sitting in the dark place. Meditation gives you a nice illumination of the room. So the room is filled with so many different animals and the crocodiles and snakes that you were not uh, aware of it before. But with the meditation, now you have shed light in your life, what you are carrying with you so far. And that's why that experience is shifting. Some people take it joyfully, very less people. And most of the people take it like, wow, I had no idea what was going on so far in my life. So that's a fantastic experience I had even myself.
Yeah.
And to answer your other question, I started meditating since my childhood, something which is very basic in our
What the age?
household. I
Age.
would say 12 or 13, because I saw people doing sanmaika, we call it, right? Like
So
meditation.
how did you get influenced from around your surroundings, from
My
your
surroundings,
parents?
parents, surroundings, my grandparents, they used to do something called sanmaika. Sanmaika is a word for, counting the pearls. Mara jo bolte hai, that things. And then we start counting that, and we sit in a silence with some mantra. And I started inquiring myself, what is this about? Why these folks are sitting so calm and quiet, and they have this aura. They are so pleasant in their life. They are happy. They are well connected. They make the most tasty food in life, and their lifestyle is totally different.
Yeah.
And that's the question I started asking myself with my surrounding. There has to be something deeper in this. So that was my first influence. I think I started exploring. I didn't know everything that time, but I felt there has to be some deeper meaning than what catches my eyes or I can touch or feel.
So how did you get into mindfulness and meditation?
I went through rough patches like everybody else in life, ups and downs, and I totally forgot the practice I had back in India with all my family, meditation, mindfulness. And I started counseling, a psychological counseling. And a counselor asked me after a few sessions that, have you tried meditation? And wow, I was really surprised, because with everything I have gone through, I always had that answer in my backyard. And I didn't care to explore more, which I stopped a few years back. And then again, I started going back into meditation and mindfulness, which really helped me to observe all my emotions, my thoughts, and disturbances. And I found home again, even in the US, with the practice of meditation and mindfulness.
So what was the turning point that led you to pursue this path professionally?
So I always knew I wanted to speak. So speaking was one of my passion I wanted to explore. And I started with Toastmasters, and Toastmasters, a lot of folks said when you talk about mindfulness, your eyes are lighting up. You are very free, you're flexible, you are very joyful, and you see very joyful and happy. And that's how I started pursuing this path in speaking. And then after speaking, I attended in 2019 Sadhguru's conference in Dallas. And I saw 6,000 people in person, pin drop silence in a big hall. And I saw some people crying, some people excited and dancing and ecstatic. And I felt like, wow, this one person can bring so much impact in this community.
6,000 people.
Yes, 6,000 people in person. And that was a huge turning point to understand two things. One, that this thing works really well for a lot of mindfulness and mental health, things that we can help by ourselves. Two, there is a scope in this domain. I can start and jump into this as a business as well. So that was the biggest turning point for me, to start exploring myself more, understanding the nature of being human beyond emotions and sensations and thoughts and all memories, imaginations. So that was a huge deciding point where I want to do.
Sadhguru changed your life.
Yes, yes.
So, how would you explain the concept of mindfulness and meditation in very simple and relatable words? And why is it important for mental health?
So, mindfulness is the most fundamental aspect of being human. Like we have to work out for having a good muscles. The same way, if you have mind, which we of course do, we have to have some sort of exercise for mind. And that exercise itself is called mindfulness. But that exercise doesn't look like working out, like with dumbbells. And that's where people get lost. That's where people get confused. Because something so invisible, yet very powerfully present in our life, how do we handle this? And then there's a stigma, then people shy away. People think it's weak. That's something you can't see. How can you really handle? And they try to control, which is not really a good way of handling or regulating your emotions. And they get into a lot of trouble. So that to me is mindfulness, which is a huge umbrella of anything to do with mind. And meditation is really observing the mind itself. It's one of the tools. How do you observe the mind? How do you live with your mind? And that's when the meditation comes in.
So, mindfulness is all about how you exercise your mind.
Yes.
And meditation is all about observing
Yeah.
the things. Okay, that will be a simple and relatable thing I can understand now.
Yes, that's exactly right. And mindfulness, so meditation is nothing but observing your thoughts, accepting who you are, right? Because understanding who you are comes with mindfulness and meditation. And a lot of people and myself, we use mindfulness and meditation interchangeably. And sometimes people get confused. And then there is not much difference left. But I use mindfulness more broadly and to explain that mindfulness is about who are you with mind, how mind works with you, what comes with mind, like thoughts, memories, past, imagination. And then to handle that, there is a tool called meditation. So these two things, that's how they're related. So mindfulness is a huge umbrella, anything to do with mind, but meditation is a nice tool to look at it.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you for the beautiful summarization, because it is easy to understand. So as it's a very bhari bharkam terms.
Yes.
So how is it important for the mental health?
So mental health, let's talk about why the mental health came into existence, or what is about mental health.
Yes, please.
Right?
Yeah.
So mental health is, in my simple definition, inability, and this is not a standard dictionary definition, it's my own definition, how I look at mental health, is inability for us to look at the mental health, accept it as it is, without resistance and fight and discomfort. So when everybody can live happily and joyfully when there is happiness, joyfulness, everything is going, rosy and pink. But people get in trouble when there is a discomfort. For example, if you're working in home and you find a dead rat somewhere, it's going to smell. So how do you handle that discomfort is rather very important question than how you handle the happiness and joyfulness. And people are shying away right here. is because there is a stigma. There is no really good path to take care of your mind to start with when you are by yourself. Mental health is not always in when you're in front of counselor or psychiatrist. No. Mental health, the mind is with you every day when you drive a car, when you cook food, when you're working. And when we are existing in this world in time and space, there is a lot of uncomfortable situations. How you deal with that, that's what I call mental health.
Absolutely. Absolutely, because sometimes some people get very scared for, like, if I give you the example of yesterday, what happened yesterday. We recorded Danish Kaneria. He's, Danish Kaneria, he's an international player. So there was a rat actually outside.
Right, right.
What happened? I just saw it and was like,
You freaked out.
oh
Yes.
my God.
Same.
So that actually that you said, you explained.
Yes.
I'm like, oh yeah, I was doing this actually.
Rat or I don't like the cockroach. The sight
Yeah.
of cockroach is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right. So how seriously you take these things? These are very simple things, of course, and people can have a lot of different rearrangements in mental health. And I'm not mental health professional. I'm a mindfulness professional. So mental health is more when things have gone beyond your hand, and that's how people look at it. But mental health, the way I look at it, is taking responsibility of mind, getting to know the mind by yourself, understanding how to respond and not react, and how not to fight with what you have. I call that as mental health. Then it becomes mindfulness.
Can you share a personal experience where mindfulness significantly impacted your life?
So back in 2015, I went through a major life event, and when I was very struggling how to find a common ground or very leveled ground where I feel calm and at peace with myself. A lot of conflicts, a lot of issues going on, and there are a lot of things I had been accumulating in my mind, and I found it very difficult to go beyond that. And that's when I started to explore, how can I help myself? How can I look at these things without any resistance? And I started exploring and started reading about Jiddu Krishnamurti.
Okay.
At that time, early on in 2016, I started reading his books. One of my friend, he introduced to me, if you like all the spiritual talkings, you should definitely listen to Jiddu Krishnamurti. And I think he passed away in 1985. That blew my mind because he had a beautiful explanation of what is thought, what is mind, what are emotions. And that was a huge turning point. When I started practicing some of his concepts, the way he defines thoughts, memories, I was instantly in love with that personality. And I started reading his books. Freedom from the Known is one of his books, very famous, and Liberation, and there's so many books he has, At the Feet of God or some other things. That's when I started realizing, and it started helping me to how to observe all these thoughts without fighting them, how to accept and embrace those things that I'm struggling with.
Yeah. In your opinion, what are some of the primary causes of mental health that we see in today's society?
Oh, that's a very good question. I think the mind is collection of, so when we say one mind, it's not just one mind. When we say a mind, the mind is of entire humanity.
Okay.
And that is been divided into 8 billion people that we know. And when I say I am different than rest of the humanity, that's when I get into trouble. When I try to separate, and that thing in me is called ego. And ego is based off of our past. So there is a good ego, and then there is a bad ego. Good ego is how to drive, right? All our memories, our thoughts, that creates the psyche, and that creates ego. And ego is identification that we have about ourselves and the way we look at the world. And that's a good ego to have. But the moment I take some simple passing thought very seriously and make a big image out of it, that's how ego is created. And if I take that ego seriously, then there is a lot of problem. And in history, we see so many different things that one person decided that another kind of people should not exist. And he ended up killing 6 million people. See, one simple thought, he thought that there should not be an existence of Jewish people. Once thought, he stood on it, he acted on it, and it was devastating for rest of the humanity. Simple example. And if those thought comes to your mind, if you just let go of those thoughts and not take those thoughts seriously, you are just flowing like a water. You are in your element. You're just going with the flow. So that's called ego. When you're flexible, you're just laughing out and not taking yourself too seriously.
Yeah.
And making fun of yourself, I think that's something very healthy to live by. And if you stand and you say, I'm this, I'm that, then I hope you know that you are then in the vicinity of ego, right? So we got to be very careful. There is a very thin line between being aware and then being in ego. And I can probably help you understand with some sketch on the board.
Yeah, please.
Like how ego looks like.
Please.
Right?
Yeah.
So just like we were talking about ego, how ego is developed, I want to give you some sketch about how ego is created, what is the ego, where it comes from, all those kind of things. So imagine this is the awareness of entire 8 billion people. And this is Sujan. And I have this person who thinks he has his own thoughts. Those are important for him. And he thinks he is different than the rest of the 8 billion people. He thinks he is different than this entire awareness he's surrounded by. And when he brings this isolation separate from this one whole of humanity based on a passing thought, it's a simple thought here, he takes that thought very seriously, which eventually becomes an image. And then he is so attached to this image, that image creates ego in himself. And that ego gives rise to a lot of suppression, anxiety, loneliness, depression, sleeplessness, so many different things, psychosomatic disorders. When that starts happening, he is separating himself from rest of the world, rest of the humanity, which I call it as awareness, the consciousness. So if he chooses this, then he is based or he is living out of ego. But if he identify himself as a unique individual, along with the rest of the awareness, like we see it here, and he dissolves this part and says, I'm not going to take this thought very seriously. At the same time, I am not just Sujan Shah, but I'm also human, and takes these boundaries out of his thoughts and memories and imagination, then as you can see, he is one with the rest of the humanity. He is one with the rest of the awareness. That's how you dissolve your ego. But I hope you understand how ego works and how it isolates and then how you get out of it.
Thank you so much, Suzanne, for explaining ego.
Ji,
I didn't know that ego is connected to the mental health.
ji, ji. Absolutely.
And I think that's the root cause.
Yes, this is one of the very important root cause. जब हम वही जैसे like I said, when you are trying to separate yourself from rest of the humanity, it's the first time you're de-alienating yourself from rest of the humanity. We are human. That means we are part of this one single big whole. And if I'm trying to resist it, it's very difficult. For example, if you have electricity in home, it's very easier. But if you keep saying, I'm going to live my life with generator all my life, you see how much energy you have to waste for that?
Yeah.
So having electricity is being aware and linked with rest of the humanity. But switching off the electricity and saying, I'm going to run my entire home forever with electricity, that's ego.
Yeah.
How much energy, how much gas, how much electricity you need to survive on your own understanding of the world, and compared to you accept who you are and then you live
What role does self awareness play in mental health?
beautiful. This is a very important question. We are made of self-awareness
Yeah.
or awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Awareness is something we are born out of, not other way around. So people ask, where is mind? And we say, mind is in me. I would say it is not, that's not how I look at the mind. I say you are in the mind. So first the mind and the awareness came in existence, and then we were formulated or formed, right? Now you see in that example where everything around us first, before we came in physical existence, like the way we look, everything was invisible, like awareness.
Yeah.
And that awareness turned into a physical being. So we all have this awareness combined. Like I explained in my example, we are awareness. In the sketch that I just explained, you cannot deny that you are not awareness. That's who we are. And that's why we get in trouble. This simple fact that we keep saying, I am not my awareness, that you're saying you are not human being. You're saying, I don't share the space with everybody else. I am the one. Everything starts derailing. And in my understanding, in my experience, that has a tremendous psychosomatic repercussions, which is psycho is mind, somatic is your body.
Yeah.
We start having a chronic disease, we start having a chronic inflammation in our body. The chronic inflammation starts with either destruction or cancer cells and blood pressure, and then metabolic disorders such as diabetes. In my understanding, I feel that mind plays a tremendous role in affecting our health.
So, Suzanne, what are some practical steps we can take to increase self awareness in our daily life?
So I want to share one example.
Yes, please.
If there is a river flowing, and if you don't disturb the river, you can see the base of the river, right? But if you disturb the water, then you won't be able to see the base of the river. It's the same way. When there are thoughts, emotions, memories, imagination is flowing, unless you accept those as they are, unless you look at them with a calm and quiet mind, you're not able to see the reality, which is the base of the river. The moment you start fighting with all these thoughts and emotions, then everything is disturbed. So to have awareness, you have to sit down with yourself anywhere you want. It could be parking lot, anywhere. Just get a 2 minutes, take a deep breathe in and out. That helps you to regulate your vagus nerve, which is fight and flight nerve. And when that is calm, the vagus nerve sympathetic regulation turns from that it's overstimulation to parasympathetic stimulation, which helps you to be completely calm, grateful, quiet. And then you are in your element again with your self-awareness. Yes.
There is a very popular quote by Thich Nhat Hanh. When you practice mindfulness, you give yourself the opportunity to truly live
Yes.
and has the power to transform not only your life, but also the people who around you.
Around you. Yes.
So, I want to ask, how do you use your mindfulness and meditation skills to help the society? Like you do the juvenile facility. Can you tell something about that?
Juvenile?
Yeah.
Yes. So juvenile detention, I had no idea. My father is a lawyer.
Yeah.
He's in a justice system, almost practiced 50 years.
Yeah. In United States or
No,
in India?
in India. And I had no idea about juvenile kids. They're anywhere from 10 years to 17 years. They get in trouble. So in 2022, August, I met Judge Julie and I just asked her, is there something I can help you with? And she said, can you teach juvenile kids the mindfulness? So that's where everything started.
Oh, okay.
And I said, yes, I would love to. And I had no idea what this entails, but then I met with Chief Dobbs, Kyle Dobbs, worth mentioning his name and his staff in Fort Bend County Juvenile Detention Center. So Judge Julie helped me to connect and said, in our community, in the juvenile system, this is an extreme need, along with other mental health things, that mindfulness can help. And because of that, I started doing it, met with Chief Dobbs, who is our chief of detention center. Just like Judge Julie, he's also amazing personality. He helped me a lot with getting through this juvenile system. And then Mr. Finley, Mr. Roberts, Mr. Brad, Miss Janae, some of those folks had been instrumental to share some of this knowledge in a juvenile center at Richmond. It's here in Richmond, yes.
Okay, so can you describe your thought process when you deal with juvenile cases?
That's a good question, because when I started in August 2022, I had no idea, no exposure or no experience with detentions, kids. And then when I started, they started giving me a hard time. And after 3-4 months, I felt, is this really for me? I started asking and doubting myself. You see, when that doubt comes, that's a part of ego as well. And then I met with Chief Dobbs that day and said, Chief, can you explain me this? How I'm having so much struggle within, I'm not able to handle the kids. And what he shared that moment was phenomenal. He said, Sujan, if you can change or reform even one single kid, I'll put every resources behind your initiative.
Wow.
And that was, I was like, wow. I was absolutely stunned with what he said. So you see that hunger to help the kids, that imagination, that awareness to help kids, so impactful. That's when I started saying, man, I gotta let go and not take this personally. Because I used to say, my God, these kids are giving me run. Are they gonna, is this what I want to do in my life? Is it helping them or not? And they also explained me it does help them. They're just giving you a hard time. They want to see if they can trust you. And that's when my process started. I dropped my ego, connected deep within myself. They taught me lesson before I could teach them anything.
Yeah.
And in that common platform, we created such a beautiful trust with each other, with administrators, with Judge Julie and the kids. And that's when we started seeing real transformation in the kids. Not just one, several of them.
Let's say, for example, let's assume that you have to work with a juvenile who was convicted of a felony.
Correct.
Then
Plus,
what is, step by step, can you tell me like how you start working with them?
sure. So all I have to do is just show up in a detention center. And Judge Julie, for example, she signs that order that this kid is chosen to go to detention center based on all the criminalities and her legal knowledge. She makes that decision. Would this kid go to detention center or directly to the jail? That's when they come to the juvenile center for reformation, observation. And then I come in and teach them. They pick the students or the kids for me. It's called something called JLA, which is leadership. And those kids are given in my class, in my group. And that's where we start talking about these things, saying, what is mindfulness? Why we are here? First couple of them are really hard to explain them because they are coming from such a tremendous, crazy background. We will not be able to imagine what they have gone through at all. But that's where we jump in and then we start slowly opening them up and listen to their story. What really happened? And that builds trust. And then we start helping them slowly, one step at a time. And that we have seen tremendous changes.
Does these stories affect you?
Oh, yes. The kids have such deeper stories and traumatic stories, some of them I know. And then it troubles me as a human.
Yeah. How you always get into, whenever you listen this kind of stories, do you take them to the home or you just let it go?
It's very difficult. I used to take it home. I used to take it a place in my heart where it troubled me personally. I lost my sleep at night and I struggled it. But then after a few months, weeks, I got into counseling to understand how I can separate myself from these personal stories. And that helped me a lot. And in counseling, it was also with the help of mindfulness. So I'm teaching them mindfulness, but then
you had to take the
myself.
Yes. After listening their stories.
Yes.
I know. I'm just. It's not about that mental health thing.
No
It
problem.
just came out in my mind. When, like you said, that when we sleep, so we are into the meditation. Some very, we don't want that dreams, but some unwanted dreams come.
Right.
What is the reason?
That reason is because there is a routine before you go to sleep. And if you don't come in terms with the entire emotional baggage of the day and the physical baggage of the day, meaning what we ate and digestion, and baggage of mind is if you had an emotional day which was stressful, and if that emotional baggage is not come in terms with you, that means you didn't make a peace with it before you go to sleep. You didn't digest your food before you go to sleep.
Sometimes these dreams are not related to our daily activities also. They're like, I don't know. It happened in my past or not. I don't know why. Sometimes they just show up. So I don't know what's the reason.
The important reason is when you are in the deep sleep, your temporary memories are converted into long-term memories. And your long-term to capture and make it deep and permanent memory, mind plays some recording, and that recording comes out as a dream. So when you are dreaming something, the brain, the mind, is trying to convert your short-term memory into long-term memory. Sometimes it has to do that role where it will play some movie, and that movie for us is a dream. But what really happening is they are converting some short-term memories with the help of the story to long-term
Are
memories.
those long-term memories necessarily related to our history? Do you think?
Yes, history, or actually day to day what happened,
Okay.
or in a near past what happened with us. Anything. It doesn't have to be good or
Sorry, out
bad.
of curiosity, I just asked this.
Yeah. No, it's an important question. And it's also mindfulness because a lot of people lose sleep. A lot of, in America, we have, I don't have statistics, but a lot of people are sleepless. Insomnia is a big problem. Is because, partly because they don't know how to handle their loneliness, they don't know how to handle their emotions, and worry, anxiety, and a lot of things. And then they end up having these issues. Sleep is very important.
Yeah.
In Ayurveda, they say sleep. Without sleep, you start with sleep. Sleep has to be, you got to get 7 to 8 hours of a good night's sleep. Deep sleep is around 3 to 4 hours. So, back to what we were talking about is deep sleep, equivalent when you're awake, is meditation. But you're not sleeping, but your awareness is bright and shining in you by yourself. You're not having thoughts much, you're not disturbing or fighting your emotions. That helps to regenerate, make you fresh, make you energetic. Your aging is slow, your memory is powerful, and then you're aligned yourself very strongly.
When you take a good sleep
Yes, and the meditation,
and the meditation.
the awakening of, when you're awakened and then you meditate without sleeping, it's almost like a sleep, where you're taking break from all that mind and, thoughts.
So, what are some simple mindfulness exercises that beginners can try? If let's keep it very simple and relatable for the common man.
Yes.
They don't know about all the very big techniques.
Right.
So, just very simple technique that a beginner can try.
Absolutely. So you have to come in terms with the sensations. For example, what color of the wall is in front of me? Ask yourself. You are going through a lot of mental turmoil. Or if you want to be very peaceful, ask yourself, how's the temperature in the room? Right? How the clothes feel on my skin? Right?
Feel.
Yeah, how they feel on your skin. This is also one sensation. What's the taste in your mouth, right? Or what's the smell of the environment you are in, right? What you're looking at, what you are hearing. When you start doing these simple questions in your mind, you are debunking yourself from that continuation of the past. And you're in the moment. So the goal is to be in the moment. And when you are with your sensations, you're suddenly here. That's one technique. And second is very simple, like we know, is to take a deep breath in and out, right? Do it a few times, and you can do it anywhere. It could be parking lot or in a kitchen or in a cafe, anywhere. Just close your eyes so this sensation is closed, and take a deep breath in and out. Observe your thoughts. Let it go. Don't fight. Accept all the sensations and emotions you have. The moment you start fighting these emotions and thoughts, it becomes more. People say, delete my thoughts. People say, run away from it, you'll be fine. No. You have to face head on, so you are making peace with it. So those are some of the simple techniques. Go for a walk, go log down your feelings in journaling, go on walk to the lawn without shoe. So you are
Just to
earthing
feel
your,
the sensations and the green grass.
yes, that helps you to be connected with the awareness.
Of course.
Yes.
What signs indicate that someone is benefiting from mindfulness?
Beautiful. See, this is one of the most important questions. You're getting a good night's sleep, first thing, right? You're not waking up too much in panic at night. Two, you're not taking things personally. The things that you observed before, that something triggers you.
Let go.
Let go of all the
Yeah,
triggers, or you're not trying to compete with others too
I think
much.
that let go things comes with the age also.
Yes.
I mean, uh, if I see myself when I was in my 20s, everything was like, why it happened? Now, okay.
Who cares? Now it's like, yes,
So, yeah, I think maturity plays a great role.
right. Maturity is nothing but, and maturity is again a process of time and space. That means then you're going to wait for another 5 years. I don't want that. I want people to have that experience regardless of their age. 10 years old, 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old. I am saying you can have this experience without waiting to age.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah.
It can happen like this. But you have to focus not on awareness, you have to focus on getting rid of distractions. Yes.
When we talk about mental health, anxiety and stress plays a key role. Unfortunately, anxiety and stress are everywhere in today's world. For example, it's a recent example. On April 2nd, President Trump imposed tariffs pretty much on every nation. So, and that caused a lot of stress.
Yes.
And who knows, it may happen again.
Right.
So, for such circumstances, what advice would you give? Because sometimes it's not in our hand and we can't do anything. There is a popular quote, you can't stop waves,
Yes.
but you can learn.
Ride with them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Learn to ride with them.
Yeah.
Or against them.
Yeah.
I have seen many of my friends, including myself, going through a lot of anxieties with uncertainties, right? When you hear something from Washington or anyone in the world, we heard about Myanmar going through tremendous 7.7 Richter scale of earthquake. It's all again pain. As human being, we are afraid. I would, in this situation, focus on myself. It doesn't mean that I am not worried and concerned about the world, but I have to ask myself, okay, President Trump did this. I have to ask myself a question. What is my role in this entire thing and what can I do? Can I go and oppose him and say, don't do it? I can't. Can I speak with Elon Musk and suggest him what I feel is right? I can't. He's not my friend. You see, we have to come to the facts. Like I said, when in meditation, you gotta ask yourself, what are the sensations? Where I am? What can I do? This is the single most question you gotta ask yourself. In this situation, in my responsibilities, I'm a father of 11 years old daughter. What is my responsibility? How can I help them? If I am not able to influence that, how can I add to myself, make sure I'm good and okay for now? That's the only thing we can do. And when you make a peace with that, I think everything will fall in place. I mean, you can do anything you want if you want to, create an awareness and all that situations. But most importantly, I think how you handle this stress and anxiety, uncertainties. And the main thing, this is coming from the unknown, because it have not happened in the history of United States. It is happening. It happened once in Great Depression in 1930s. And now it's happening again. He's trying to do something, but we're afraid of the unknown. Nobody knows which way this is going to go.
Yeah.
So when we are afraid of the unknown, I think the first thing I should do is focus on myself. What does that mean? How does that look like? Love yourself, stay calm and quiet, ask yourself a question. What is the best thing I can do for myself right now in this world. If we lose focus on that, you are losing your health, your mind, your finances, your responsibility, your family, your friends. You see the repercussions? That's how I take it. And that's how I said to my friends as well who are worried, I'm not saying it's not real. It is real.
Yeah, I mean, it affects so many people.
Yes.
April was very hard
Yes.
for the people who invested in stocks, especially.
Stocks and so many different things in the future. Cars are now going to be affected, I think. And then we don't know. We don't even know what tariff is going to and how it's going to affect us. But I strongly believe we will have something with us that we can sustain our lives.
Yeah.
Provided we are focusing on ourselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if you look at the news, it's evident that the world is changing very fast these days, and we can see that life is becoming more stressful day by day. Personally, I feel that majority of impact of all these changes will be on our kids and the future generation.
Yes.
As a mother of 2 kids myself, I sometimes wonder what I can do to prepare my kids to deal with, all the anxieties and might experience in coming years. It's really sometimes I just get very anxious how I will deal all these situations. And can you recommend any mindfulness practice that parents can do with their children to support their mental health and emotional development?
Beautiful question. I heard Judge Julie saying in last interview, I think that was really something very important. She said communication.
Yeah.
And I think communication, we come from Indian background, and I think there are certain ways that we look at the kids, and we have to change with the waves.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean we have to support them, but we have to find a way how we can engage in their lives. That's our responsibility as a parent, I think. How we engage in their lives is first we have to get rid of all the notions that I'm going to stop everything my kids are going to do, that I don't like it. It's the tough one.
Yeah.
And if we resist, they're going to shut off. They're not going to share with you anything.
Yeah.
And then they will start putting under the carpet and do behind your back. Then the first thing I think is we have to understand we have created this world for them. It's not them. They didn't create this world. We meaning not just you and I, the entire population. You see, iPhone is created, internet is created, and so many different things created where they can be distracted. It's not their fault that we created this. And now, after creating this, if we keep saying it's their fault, oh my God, can you imagine what's happening at their level, in their mind? They don't know where it came from. They don't know anything else than the social media and those many things. And on top of it, instead of listening to their issues, we are opposing them. So you see, there is such a huge conflict in their mind. That's not helping them to live a normal life. And that's why this generation, youngest generation right now, is the loneliest population.
And sometimes these or all these experiences, all these causes lead to the mental health issues.
That's exactly right. That's where what you asked, I liked what you said, is society. As a society, when we start looking within ourselves, everybody else in the society become one.
Absolutely.
And they're connected with that awareness. And that's the only way we can solve this problem. This problem cannot be solved by shouting at them, by saying you are the bad one, by not communicating with them. That's the most critical thing as parents we need to understand. We have to understand them, how they are surviving in the world that we have created.
Sometimes it is hard for parents also. They want to, understand all these things, but you know, if we talk about only USA, okay, here kids get independent very early. Like if I say after elementary, they're like, okay, we are very independent because how the school teaches them. Because you have your own right. If you don't like your parents, you can just tell them. These kind of things. So being an immigrant parent, it is hard for us to.
Yes, yes.
How we can tackle these situations?
So being immigrant parent, we have to understand one thing, that the way we have been raised, it's not going to work here. The good values we have to cultivate a way to communicate with them. So how you package yourself and how you communicate is important. I'm not saying the values we learned in India are not good. No, they are still good as a gold standard. But how do you communicate with them is very important. That's number one. Number two is something I want my daughter to be exactly like this, the way I say it. It shouldn't be there anywhere on earth. This is the biggest problem immigrant and Desi community come across.
Yeah.
If we let that, so for example, a plant, right? Now it's a spring season. We are planting something beautiful, like say rose, or I have orchids and I have lilies that I'm trying to grow in my home. You see, the only part you do is to start watering and sow the seed. The seed has its own information how to be.
It's very deep things. Absolutely.
The seed knows how to be.
Yeah.
So the person who is born, it knows how to be. All we have to do is secure safety, water, nutrition. The moment you start saying you have to be like this, do you think that that seed is going to listen to you?
Absolutely.
No. Children are same way.
Yeah.
And every seed you have in the next generation is going to be advanced. It's going to be different.
Yeah.
It has passed that time and space in evolution, which makes them even smarter than the last generation. So the question is how we work with them, and not more of how we reject or accept it. We have to understand and live with how this plant is booming.
A rapid fire round with Sujan Shah. First question. Favorite meditation technique?
Sitting with yourself, calm and observing thoughts without any resistance or fight.
Okay, a follow-up question. Whenever you sit and relax, what first thought comes into your mind?
Lot of thoughts.
Lots of thoughts.
Why am I here? Is it helpful? Should I do it or not?
So are these thoughts related to your business or
everything?
everything?
Past, future, current problems. But then you don't play
So
with them.
problems comes first or the solution?
Of course, problems. Then because the mind always wants to push problems to you.
Yeah.
That's the game of the mind. That's the game of the ego. But the role of the awareness is to take off all the distractions and be in awareness. So,
One book that changed your life?
by Jiddu Krishnamurti, Freedom from the Known. Very powerful book.
Favorite place to meditate?
Embracing who you are. Embracing acceptance. The one word, if you want, learn to accept human being a human.
One advice you would like to give if anyone is suffering from mental health issues?
Accept yourself. Stop fighting. Live in the moment. Live in the present. That's the only place you can live. You cannot live in the past. You cannot live in the future. Living only happens in the moment. And if you live in the awareness without distractions, That's the simplest form, inexpensive mindfulness, self-empowering, self-healing, self-living power you have within yourself
One thing you can't live without.
is awareness, is my awareness.
Okay. Best piece of advice you have ever received.
It's from my father. He says, you are nobody if you don't do anything for others. And he keeps telling me that. He says, your purpose is not complete until you give it back. You have a place to live, you have a job, you're making money. At the end of the day, before you go to sleep, what are you doing for others? And that's the guru mantra for me.
Last two questions. If you could meditate anywhere in the world, where would it be?
You'll be in some Himalayas. I was in Leh Ladakh last year, or this January, or I think this January. I was with my nephew Karan, and there was a beautiful glacier water was flowing, and it was July, August. So all the glacier water was just flowing, and the noise of that glacier, and we had tents. You see all the lines of
Yeah.
Himalayas, and the top of them are like nice white because of the snow. Oh my God. I felt one with the nature, one with myself, one with the universe. Beautiful. I had a fantastic experience.
Last question, and you're doing so good. If you could introduce mindfulness into school curriculum, what age would you recommend?
I would say start from the fifth grade. Fifth grade, I think, is where kids start taking their personal identity very seriously. And that's where you don't want to introduce them too much of a lot of things. And earlier is the better. It doesn't have to be just fifth grade, but they really start understanding the world. What is mine? What is theirs? Who are the parents? And they are into emotions. They're not understanding how to handle. So start telling them very simple things, where the happiness comes from. What are different sensations you feel around you,
Yeah.
right? What are different colors? What are sensory inputs? Just simple, small, and nice things. Ask them meditate. If they can meditate, excellent. If they can't, then rest of the best gift you can give it to the kids is not just money or property and all, like we used to say in my generation, is to how to handle the complexities of the world. This is going to be the single most important question in front of our kids.
Thank you so much, Sujan Shah.
Thank
It
you.
was wonderful, wonderful conversation, and I personally learned a lot.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for all the details, all the thoughtfulness, all the insights. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate and wonderful questions and discussions. I enjoyed this interview thoroughly.
Thank
you.